Hello and good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to welcome everyone to today's development group conversation. I'm hosting this one today and really looking forward to all of your questions. I hope you already had a look perhaps at the slides or even the preview that I recorded last night. So I even brought an addition to the slides with me, which was just recorded today, which is a performance improvement progress comparison video, which simply shows you in slow motion what we have done over the last couple of months, where we were able to increase performance, and you can see a clear distinction and better rendering between those two and the different parts of improving that. And yeah, it's simply very interesting and exciting, and we are also getting a lot out of those slow motion videos in the real world. It's not just for the effect of a nice, cool video, but it's also giving us also a lot of insights around what is loading when, what can be prioritized to something else. And yeah, cool. Meg, I see that you are typing your first question.
Thank you. I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. Yeah, thanks. Congrats on the progress, and thanks for letting us know. How would you rate the impactfulness of this when compared to something like pajamas migration, the impact on performance? Is the pajamas migration going to improve more performance or less performance? Or which one is more impactful from your measurements?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. Yes, the pajamas component transition that we are targeting in Q3 is really around taking really old implementations of old legacy components and replacing them with pajama components, which has on one side a huge effect on usability because we are using everywhere the same component. Spoiler alert, we currently have 3 to 4 different drop-down libraries, for example, in our code base. So this is also bringing in some differences. And really, this helps having one component to use in all the places. The other big part is this can lead and will lead to performance improvements. Why? Quite simple. We use still from the old days, we use Bootstrap, which is great. We are not replacing Bootstrap in itself, but we are replacing the JavaScript components that are integrated in Bootstrap. Why? Because they are using jQuery. This is something a lot of us have heard not for a couple of years. And the target for the performance improvements is that we are at some point, as soon as we have converted all the components, hopefully can cut out the Bootstrap JS part, this legacy part, and also the jQuery library out of our main JS bundle. The main JS bundle is the one that we are loading on each and every page load. And this really means that the two big blockers that we have currently on front-end rendering performance, so as soon as the backend is rendered, the first page is really that we have a huge JavaScript bundle because we need to include so many different things, and we are constantly trying to reduce this. And on the other hand, we have a huge CSS block, and those are the two areas we are really targeting on a global perspective from the front end. And if we are able to cut out Bootstrap.js and jQuery, I think we calculated it will be a reduction around 20 to 25% of the main JS bundle, perhaps even more. And we can also remove some of our old styles because we can remove some of the libraries as we are using still for a lot of drop-down Select2, which is also one of the big libraries. So this is another 5%, and also the CSS styles, which is also quite huge. So that's where we see the performance improvements. That's the good news. The bad news is you need to do everything before you can see any improvement, because you need to replace all the components in the whole code base before you are able to remove the whole library. We're currently looking if we can find some transitioning to have some improvements there even earlier, also on the performance. But that's basically the main target.
Okay, thanks for the context. So like foundational work, and it will improve even more performance because we're sunsetting a number of legacy things.
Yeah.
I think Roman has the next comment you want to vocalize.
Yeah, sure. So my question is, and you make it very clear, we don't want to get rid of Bootstrap eventually anyway, right? Just of the bad parts. I wonder, like, if it doesn't make sense or so for us, like, to go more all in on the Bootstrap Vue ecosystem, because, like, on the one side, they're definitely interested in kind of more collaborating with us. On the other side, it would allow us for us not reinvent the wheel, do a lot of extra work that might kind of benefit this product in general. What is your thought on this?
Yeah, I think that the original idea of GitLab UI was of our component library was really that we are encapsulate whatever components we have below. So our main target is really to not reinvent the wheel. That was our #1 target from the beginning, and that's why we use this Vue Bootstrap library. And they have also moved forward quite nicely and have improved a lot of their code base. So I definitely can see, as we are really using that for all our base components, or the easy ones, like buttons and drop downs, etc. I definitely can see that as soon as we get to a point that we are able to use all of those components, that we can definitely also bring something back upstream that can help us in our integration part. That can be either in the direction of accessibility, which is always a huge topic around components, so that your components are from the start on using all accessibility features that are there in the browsers, or also new features that are coming out constantly with the big browsers that can support performance, etc. So that we can basically help upstream. The idea of GitLab UI was really to encapsulate that, and on the other hand, really focus rather on the more complex ones, so that we have our user avatar, which is really targeted at GitLab, but at some point, hopefully also like a control, which is called project dropdowns, where you simply, as an engineer, take, okay, I need a project dropdown for this form. I put this in, I take a user dropdown, and by the way, I need also a tag list. Bam, 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 and off you go. And you really work off from our design docs, and I think that's where we are currently heading, and we made some good progress. And definitely, as we are using that so much, would be a good point to support them also. Any other questions? Then I will highlight one more thing before we close it. Perhaps this will also bring some ideas for questions. I want to thank everyone in the development area, but also everyone that development is working in. This is really all around the quad structure, because we couldn't do iteration that good if not everyone is helping to improve the overall cycle. But I want to thank, especially as this is development group conversation, everyone, the development department, of doing an awesome job. We have hit a record number in July. We are constantly improving. We are seeing really progress and impact of all the different things that we are integrating. There are great ideas everywhere, and it's great to see that everyone is really pushing forward. But thanks everyone for the hard work and really hitting those numbers just by being awesome. Thanks a lot.
I'll throw in a Grabback question, Tim, which you can give me your thoughts on, and anybody else who wants to join in, because I'd love to get feedback. So our Q3 OKRs are pretty ambitious around making us faster than GitHub, and also the pajamas work. What do folks think is the next big thing that we should tackle? Like, what do you think should be our Q4 objective that we should improve on? Or does anybody have any ideas around that?
I think currently we are pushing for a lot of performance improvements, but I think at some point we should catch up and then transition into our whole workflow that performance is one of the main topics. So that I know the quality department is already doing great work around MRs and having performance measurements right from the beginning in the MRs. But really, one of my OKRs is also really into trying to figure out how we can get all the engineers to get the know-how to how to audit GitLab as a whole, not just front end or back end or Gitly, just the whole application and how we can work better together, of having performance improvements from the start on. I think this will be the next big step as soon as we have cleared out the big things, which are laying around from the legacy areas. It's really about going the super advanced stuff. And what I definitely can see on the technology side, for example, is PWAs. PWAs, progressive web apps, is a classic topic. Yeah, let's get something on mobile, which can definitely be a target to some extent. But by now, there's also a huge push over the last half year, PWAs for desktop. And I believe that a lot of our engineers are working on desktop, and having a PWA simply can help us that currently the application works, okay, there is one tab, but you could have in the background like a service worker that is sending out real notifications, that is bringing stuff up and updating all the tabs with the actual data, and really connecting, especially with the stuff that we are doing also in the real-time working group, getting those real-time stuff in so that you're not getting an email or something here and there, but know that your application is really proactively telling, hey, by the way, that stuff has just finished and someone else is editing in there. So I would love to see that we are getting in this more advanced area of performance optimization and also simply application optimization.
Love it.
Good. If there are no other questions, then thanks everyone for joining. Thanks everyone for the questions, and have a great day, and see you soon in another call. Take care, everyone.